All right, team, welcome back to Plastic Surgery Untold, greatest podcast in the world as voted by us. We're actually rocking out a brand new studio here. So thanks to Record ATX for hosting us on a Sunday for this absolutely fabulous day of, for us being able to share the things that we love with all of you. Today, we're talking about an exciting new treatment called Brella. Jenna's taken over this and trying to create the sweat shortage, which there hasn't been this past summer with record heat. So, and I think a lot of people think it's just for the summer when it's super hot out and you're sweating all the time, but people forget in the winter, you're all bundled up. You got your nice, silk suits, your dress gowns, other cashmere type things. And then you get inside and the heaters are on at 100 degrees. So, really kind of cool for those of us like Sarah and Kevin and Joseph who are doing speaking all over the country. Nothing more embarrassing than like getting excited. You take off your coat and then all of a sudden you got these big old sweat stains, but Jenna and I don't have that at this point. So we'll see if some of our colleagues get treated here, but let's just jump into it a little bit. Maybe have our rock star cast give a quick intro to themselves, and then we'll get started. Jenna, kick us off. How have you been?
We've been so crazy busy. It's been amazing with not only the Brella treatments, but also the weight loss revolution and all of our great patients. So it's been great.
Awesome. Joseph, what's been going on in San Antonio?
Yeah, life's been great. The office continues to expand. We got some new colleagues starting this week, so that's exciting. We've been very busy with the weight loss revolution taking off, of course. Heading up that wellness program out there has been awesome. So life's been pretty good.
Sarah, you've had a busy weekend. You did a little Ovally training yesterday. You're here today. So thank you, Dusty, for sharing a little bit of her time with us.
Yes. Life has been great. Super busy at the office. I've been loving seeing, all of my amazing patients. You're right. We hosted a Ovally training yesterday, which was so fun. We had providers from all over the country come and visit us to learn more about Ovally and marketing and how we do it at APS. And then spent the day at cheerleading games with my 3 daughters. So been busy.
Damn. And then last but not least, my mentor, Dr. Chang. How have you been, sir?
Yes, very good. Thanks so much for having me. It's super exciting to be here. I actually was just talking about this a few days ago. I just worked my very last shift at the hospital earlier
Congratulations.
This week. And so happy to be here. It's really exciting. I really appreciate the opportunity to be working more with this fabulous team. Love seeing all of our patients as well. We're doing a lot of work on the weight loss revolution and expanding on wellness services. So really exciting.
Jenna, kick us off. Talk to us. What is Brella? So what does it do? How does it work? And then we'll jump into who's a good candidate, and then maybe we can even talk about our experience with it.
Yeah, definitely. So Brella is a sweat reduction patch. So it can reduce sweat in the area treated for about 3 to 4 months, which we've done this in the past with things like neurotoxin. And essentially with neurotoxin, there's needles. You can have some irritation there, but with Brella, it's a little patch that you kind of put there, sits for 3 minutes or less. And then once you reach that discomfort level, about a 7, it's time to take it off. And you just kind of rinse the air with some cool water. And then you're pretty much reduce sweat for about 3 to 4 months using that thermal energy to deactivate the sweat gland. So super, super easy, really neat. Really no downtime, no needles, super comfortable for the patients. And then you get to kind of wear those really nice blouses and dresses and not have to worry, or speak at conferences, things like that, not have to worry about having those sweat stains.
And I think treating, sweating in both the armpit, under breast, scalp, all these different areas isn't something new. We've done it in the past, and there's been other devices that do this, some on a semi-permanent, some with a little bit longer. We've used toxin to treat this. The problem in the past has always been the treatment itself. You either needed multiple sort of, not true laser, but sort of a laser treatment for these areas, or you could do toxin for the areas, which is super effective, but takes a couple weeks to kick in. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes can be a little pricey because you do need a pretty significant area if you're talking about an armpit or under boob stuff to cover that much surface area, and was sometimes price prohibitive for people.
Yeah, definitely. And I think,
go ahead.
Sorry. That's what I was going to say. It's really neat that it is at an effective price point, and that, you're not having to really scrounge up the funds to be able to do it. And then, like I said, the nice thing is that super comfortable. We had an influencer that we treated not too long ago, and I literally had it on there for probably 2 seconds or so. And he was like, all right, I'm at a 7, take it off. And I was going to be kind of curious to see how his results turned out. But he said by day 3, he already noticed a significant sweat reduction, and it's working really well for him.
I had it on a Thursday. In that weekend, I was at the gym. And so even after the whole gym area stuff, I was fine. I didn't have anything, sweat stains in my shirt, which let me go to, the coffee shop right afterwards, which was kind of nice, and so it made a big difference right away. I think you pointed out it's not like 100% reduction. You may still have a tiny little bit, but I've probably seen about 85 to 90% reduction. So it's been pretty phenomenal for such a short treatment in terms of that.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what's been nice is I definitely like speaking and like talking in front of a group, but it still makes me a little bit nervous. And I do get that stress sweat a little bit. I think we all know stress sweat can be a little bit different than normal sweat. But I was speaking at a conference and I honestly had no issues whatsoever. I was really relieved to be able to just be comfortable and not have to worry about not only my nerves with speaking, but also now I don't have to worry about sweating either.
I heard that at TSPS you actually did this stress sweat challenge where you were making people swipe your armpits and then see if they could taste any sweat salt. Is that true or?
I only had one person who partook in that challenge. I'm still waiting for their feedback. So
Interesting. Hey, talk to us a little bit when we talk about this. I know it's FDA cleared for armpit, for hyperhidrosis, for people who have excessive sweating, but a little bit different in terms of that we truly use it for anybody that just wants to decrease that sweat.
Definitely. And, I've had patients who've asked to treat in other areas too. I had a patient who really struggled with sweat underneath the breast. And so we treated in that area. And she said that that's been such a huge game changer for her to be able to not have to worry about that area. But you're right. It's not just for people who are true hyperhidrosis patients. It's anybody who has any sort of minor inconvenience with sweating. So with us living in Texas, I feel like that's every single day. And so that way, it just makes you more comfortable. You don't have to worry about, kind of people seeing that sweat. And then you're just more comfortable overall.
Sarah, talk to us a little bit because what kind of people ask us who's a good candidate or when do people get this? And so in your experience, I know you've treated people in the past with toxin, now with Brella, but what have you seen? Because when I used to do more of these treatments in the practice stuff, I'd see a lot of people coming in before weddings, big events, speaking events, those type of things, anywhere where they think they're going to be in a little bit of a stressful or they're going to be in the limelight, which I feel like now in the day of social media, we're in the limelight every day. But what do you see in practice in the office?
Yeah, I think this is a really exciting opportunity because you're right. When I was treating, or when I still do, sometimes treat patients with neurotoxin for sweating. Sometimes that was reserved for those patients that could spend a little bit more. Sometimes we were talking about upwards of $1,000. It can get super pricey. It does take a couple weeks to kick in. I still have those patients that love that and it works really well for them. But I think this is going to be a game changer because it's more affordable. It's super quick. A fast appointment in the office lasts a couple months. So honestly, I think now instead of just being reserved for that patient who can spend a little bit more, maybe is speaking, has big engagements, I think now, honestly, anybody can be a great candidate, especially as we're going into fall with all the Christmas parties. Like you said, you might be wearing your nicer gowns, or definitely I think brides, like you said, would be great candidates. So anybody who honestly is worried about having a little bit of excess sweat that they want to address. And even in areas that are not the armpits, like you said, I think this is going to be a total game changer and be more applicable to a larger audience.
And then Joseph, we have a lot of patients because I know you see a lot of our weight loss patients in San Antonio and then some virtually. But when you see them, I've heard that a lot of people have wanted to do this during their weight loss appointment because it is such a quick treatment. Have you seen that be a little bit more of a thing? Because I know you get a lot of questions about this.
Yeah, definitely so. As we lose weight, our bodies are changing drastically. We shift from being maybe a little self-conscious about our weight to other things. And I expect my weight loss patients to be in the gym. I'm so excited about this treatment because it can help with, that concern of the excessive sweating. And it really is, I get kind of nerdy over the science, but it really is unique. They use it. I think the technology was the targeted alkali thermolysis is what they use. And it kind of takes advantage.
I'm so glad you said that and not me.
Same.
Did you see me kind of pause and close my eyes? I had to make sure I got it out appropriately.
You did great.
Fancy science words. But basically, they kind of take advantage of the liquid or the fluid that comes with sweat, right? That is sweat. And that way they can target exactly where they want to treat. You were talking about neurotoxin neurotoxin needles. And I've personally never done that. You're probably the expert, much better than I am, of course. But, it takes some aiming, and you have to make sure you're treating, appropriately. It's a patch. You put it on, and where the sweat comes from, that's what gets treated. It causes those, thermal micro injuries, and it's going to decrease that sweat. And so I love it for my weight loss patients. Our body is changing. I expect them to be active, and this is really kind of a miracle treatment for them.
I think you brought up so many good points, and we'll get Dr. Chang's thought on this. But there's been such this paradigm shift, and so some of it's the weight loss revolution. Some of it is this kind of like coming out of the COVID huddle craze, and so people gained a lot of weight. They're trying to lose it, but they're also being more active. For a while we weren't doing events, we weren't going to conferences and things as much. Everything was virtual. So sort of like Nurse Jenna, we were sitting in our underwear, with just a fancy top on. But now that we're out and about, I think, one, you feel absolutely fabulous during the weight loss revolution, but two, you're out and about doing more things, and I think you notice some of this stuff, and you probably were doing it, but it's been 4 or 5 years, so you probably forgot that you sweat and do some of these. So just a super interesting paradigm shift, and you're already anxious about getting back into the world of doing some of these things, and so kind of nice if it's one less thing that you have to worry about. Have you seen some of these paradigm shifts, Kevin, as you have a unique perspective from the hospital, from an internal medicine, and then now taking over our wellness program?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everything you're saying rings totally true. I mean, I think COVID clearly changed the world. And we are just now, I think, seeing people sort of come out of that, right? And to some degree, we're still seeing the lasting impacts and sort of the lasting effects of COVID. So absolutely, I think people who, exactly like Joe said, people who were not super active before during COVID, or their lifestyle just really drastically changed during that time. Now they're finally coming out, doing stuff, being more active, getting back into the swing of things, going back to their normal activities, et cetera, and doing stuff that they may not otherwise have done because they're finally like, oh, I'm free. I can go and do all these things, right? So absolutely, I think this has been a great time for us to sort of be here to offer these different services and these different therapies to help address some of these needs.
So, Jenna, to summarize for patients, and because I want to do a few rapid fire question stuff just to kind of wrap up some of our sweat shortage campaign that we got going on here in Austin. So, Briella, if you were going to tell me the treatment itself, give me kind of in a couple quick lines, what is the actual treatment from like patients walking in to walking out like for them?
Yeah. So as far as pre-care, the really important thing is making sure that you have not shaved the area within 48 hours. But with that being said, you need to shave or at least trim the hair so that way we can actually access the skin. So being careful that the skin doesn't have any abrasions or any sort of irritation on it before treatment. Once we do get you into the office, we have all these fancy tools to get you to work up a little bit of a sweat, whether that is, a thermal blanket, some little heat packs we can put in the area. And then once you do develop that sweat reaction, we actually dry the area, apply the patch. And the biggest thing for it is we want you to reach that discomfort level about a 7. You don't have to make it to the full 3 minutes. We only want to reach that discomfort level 7 and then remove it. And it's super interesting because once you remove it, then that little bit of tingling heat almost gets a little more intense. But one of our wonderful MAs puts on some gauze, rinses the area with some cool water, feels really, really nice. And then you move on to the other side. So super quick and easy. We tell patients wait about 2 weeks before we assess the results. But for most of my patients, they're seeing some good results prior to that, within a few days.
And then Sarah, tell us, and I know you talked a little bit about, but just to summarize, who's a great candidate for Brella for treatment of their sweat?
Yeah, honestly, anybody who is interested in reducing sweat in any area, right? It doesn't have to be the armpits. Some common areas that we've seen is under the breast or even the groin area is an area that I commonly treat with neurotoxin. Anybody who is looking to maybe that has speaking engagements or is going to parties, Christmas parties. Our brides would be great candidates for this. But honestly, we're not ruling out anybody. If your sweat bothers you, luckily this is a affordable treatment. It doesn't take long. So just give us a call and you might be a great candidate.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but for both men and women, I feel like we've almost treated an equal amount of men and women thus far in our practice.
That's a good point. Grooms, it doesn't just have to be brides, but yeah, men and women. That's a really good point.
I mean, contrary to popular belief, every now and then we do get nervous. I get nervous at these speaking events. I get my game face stuff on. Megan gets worked up because we'll be at the hotel at these things. And I was like, I need my few minutes to do my thing. I did this when I used to play sports back in the day. I'd have my little few minute meditation presentation stuff. And so, we all kind of have our game preparation. I think for a lot of us that speak and present all the time, people take it for granted. But even at the Avali training, we show up about 45 minutes early, go over the slides and things just because I want to make it a good experience for everybody. I know once I start sweating, it almost becomes this like self-fulfilling prophecy because I feel a little bit of sweat. And then all of a sudden, like I feel like I start sweating everywhere because like, oh, I don't want to sweat. And then I start sweating more. And I'm like, shit, what's going on? And then Joseph, tell me, and then there's no reason that people who are on semaglutide, tirzepatide can't do this, and they don't have to wait till they reach their goal weight. If they're like, hey, look, I'm getting started, I want to live my fit and fabulous life. And I actually did a great TikTok on the poses that you need to live your fit and fabulous life. So feel free to check us out at Austin Plastic Surgeon on TikTok, Snapchat, or wherever you get your social media content. But Joseph, side note, tell us, and any timing that they have to not start it with the weight loss revolution?
No, of course, we love treatment, but we also love prophylaxis, right? So if you're coming in for your Skinny Shot consult, even if you are on the fence about starting your Skinny Shot journey, I would recommend Brella regardless because everybody needs to be active. It's good for our cardiovascular health. It's good for our mental well-being. And if we're being active, we sweat, and so if you want to take care of that and you want to get that sweat shortage that, we were talking about, there's no contraindications. The semaglutide does not interact with the Brella patch. And so I say jump on it as soon as you can.
Kevin, and then I saved one of the challenging questions for you since you're our professor here. But, one's got a question about whether if you're using Brella to, create the sweat shortage in your armpits, whether people are going to overheat because perspiration is a way of cooling your body off. But my concept of this is that if you actually think about it, that's such a small percentage of your body's surface area that I don't really see that this is going to have any effect in that.
Yeah, no, I don't. I agree. I don't think so either. And I wouldn't be able to quote any numbers right now, but absolutely, we're talking about small areas, small relative body surface area. You've got obviously all kinds of other places in your body that you can sort of expel heat if you need to. I seem to recall back in the day that actually we tend to lose a lot of heat through our head. So yes, I think the areas that we're talking about are all very small sort of focus areas. I don't think that's a major concern.
Any last comments you'd want to leave us for with Brella and kind of sweat treatment?
Yeah, no, I mean, this is super exciting stuff. I mean, I've actually just sitting here listening to you all have learned a lot, and this is really cool. I absolutely agree. I think if you have questions or you are interested, definitely give us a call, and we'll be happy to walk you through it and see if you're a candidate.
Jenna, any last comments for our fabulous fans out here about the sweat shortage?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just excited to see how it continues to help our patients, as we continue to treat. This is definitely something I wish I had known about in college because I went to a big college where I was walking class to class. So I'm excited to see the range of patients that we're able to treat and just already hearing those anecdotes from patients about how it's changed their lives. I get Instagram messages every single day. So I'm excited to see how that continues and to see all the great results.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate all of our celebrity cast here helping create the sweat shortage with Brella. Great treatment for hyperhidrosis, also for just those of us that get a little bit anxious, nervous, and sweat a little bit. But, isn't there a deodorant that says our little secret, And so we may put them out of business. Sorry, guys. But it's been absolutely fabulous. Don't forget, you can check us out, Plastic Surgery Untold. You can get the podcast anywhere where you listen to your favorite podcast, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, iHeart. You can also watch us on YouTube if you want to see us. Don't worry, we only showed Jenna's top half, so you don't have to see the rest of it. And appreciate you guys listening. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.